Let me quote from your column on Monday, which was a magnificent column, I've got to say. So Nick's a regular Monday columnist every Monday in The Australian, and you said, quote, "The Crown transcends human frailties and earthly morality. Some might be so bold as to regard it as a gift from God," unquote. Beautifully put, Nick.
Well, I realised that for the first time. I mean, obviously, people talk about this. I mean, I go to church. I remember the Anglican Church, so, you know, we talk about this all the time, but it never really struck me why that is. The thing is, Fred, you and I, like, we can get to choose our government, our Prime Minister. That's what we do under our system. But it's above our pay grade to choose the head of state. There's something rather very special about that, I think. It's out of our hands. So it is.
Well, it's also Nick, it's also out of the hands of Republicans.
Yeah.
They never talk about metaphysics or things that transcend. They just talk about very mundane sort of legal technicalities. And that's not what nations are built on, are they?
Well, no. I mean, we could go on, we could get quite deep on this. What's the other explanation for why we've suddenly got a change of monarch at this time? Chance? Well, you could perhaps think so, but I rather like the idea it's sort of ordained. But you're right. I mean, the thing is, if we were to decide, like you and I got a hand in deciding it, obviously we'd be outvoted by the woke left on the North Shore of Sydney, and we'd end up with some ghastly president, which we don't neither of us want. So much better that it should be, you know, just something that is not out of our hands, actually has no role in decision making other than just approving what is recommended to it by Parliament, is just there to keep politicians in their place, it seems to me, prevent them getting more power, which none of us want.
Well, speaking of more power, let's talk about Professor Jay Bhattacharya, one of the co-authors of the Great Barrington Declaration. Firstly, he's had quite a rough ride in the media over the past couple of years. So I'm guessing he's a fairly guarded person. What's he like to interview, Nick?
Well, he's terrific. And the funny thing is, Fred, the first time I've had a chance to talk to him one-on-one, but I feel that I've been in on a conversation that he's been involved in for the last 2 years, just simply for this wonderful world of podcasts and blogs and everything. You know, I've been following what he's been saying from the beginning because it always seemed like common sense, right? His basic point is this: don't lock down the entire population. What's the point? Like most people, by the vast majority of people in Australia, very low, if zero risk of dying from COVID under normal circumstances. But of course, there's people, largely the elderly, the people with comorbidities, overweight people, for instance, smokers, for instance, but other things like people with cancer, they are vulnerable. So you look after them, right? It's just always from day one seemed to me common sense. And I wrote about this at the time and got sort of blank stares, you know.